Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. Tanoh Kpassagnon apparently signing a 2-year deal with the New Orleans Saints. Listen, I get it. I mean, this isn't the thing that's going to generate a ton of buzz for the New Orleans Saints and for the Saints fan base. It was Ian Rappaport who had it first. Nick Underhill also tweeted terms of the deal. But there is an interesting angle to this. So according to Nick Underhill, the tweet said, Kpassagnon signed a 2-year deal worth $4.5 million. So he gets a $500,000 signing bonus, $2 million in guarantees. The interesting thing is that he carries 3 void years. So a max value of $525 if he achieves a sack escalator. But basically, it's a 2-year deal worth $4.5 million with 3 voidable years at the end. So like 2 years, but really 5, so that they could spread out that money over 5 years. It's just kind of brilliant what they do. But it's the way that they're always going to approach it to find their loopholes within the cap. So this is the move to offset losing Trey Hendrickson. And there was one interesting thing about this. So there's a couple things I like about it, okay? Kpassagnon 26 years old, so he came into the NFL in the same draft as Trey Hendrickson. He was a second-round pick. So he came from Villanova, and he's a big, physical-looking dude. I mean, you could tell, 6'7", 290. I mean, he chiseled. Like, he's a great-looking prospect. He didn't test through the roof at the Combine, but he certainly looks the part. And he's been durable as well. I like that a lot. In 4 seasons, he's only missed 3 games. It was all 2 seasons ago when he played 13 games. But he's been a durable guy for the Chiefs. The other part that I really like is that he comes from the Chiefs. This is a guy who's coming from a winning culture. When you think about New Orleans, now with Drew Brees and Thomas Morstead exiting stage left, there's only one guy left on the team that was here for the Super Bowl in 2009. That was Malcolm Jenkins, and he obviously diverted to Philly, won another Super Bowl, and came back. So the only guy you have on your team with that Super Bowl pedigree is Malcolm Jenkins, and now you add Kpassagnon, who spent his first 4 years in the league with the Kansas City Chiefs, of course, won the Super Bowl 2 years ago and was in the Super Bowl this past year. So I do like adding a guy who has playoff experience, who has Super Bowl experience, who has that expectation, that culture of being part of a winning locker room, a team that's expecting to play meaningful games into December, January, and February. This was the really interesting thing. So Hendrickson and Kpassagnon came into the league the same year in 2017. As rookies, Kpassagnon had 2 sacks. Trey Hendrickson had 2 sacks. In their second year, 2018, Kpassagnon had no sacks. Trey Hendrickson had no sacks. Third year, Kpassagnon had 4 sacks. You want to take a guess how many Hendrickson had?
Guessing 4?
4.5.
Oh!
But basically, they were the same guy through 3 years. 2 sacks each as a rookie, no sacks in their second year. And in the third year, Kpassagnon had 4 and Hendrickson had 4.5. And then, of course, last year was the outlier. Hendrickson blew up 13.5 sacks. Kpassagnon just had 1 sack last year in Kansas City. But you can kind of look and say, man, it's similar. Both guys came into winning franchises. Their numbers were identical through 3 years. And then this past year, when Hendrickson stepped up opposite Cam Jordan, he had a blow-up season when most were expecting Davenport to be that guy. Well, now Hendrickson is off. He got his big contract. And Kpassagnon is looking for that opportunity. If you're the Saints, you look at this and you go, man, it's only going to cost me $4.5 million for 2 years that I can spread out really over 5 years. It's going to cost me basically nothing to get this guy who's 26. He's been durable. He's in his prime. His first 3 years look exactly like the guy who was here, who just signed a big, giant deal. If nothing else, this is a hedge if Davenport doesn't stay healthy. Now, my hope is that Marcus Davenport finally lives up to the faith the Saints put in him when they moved up to take him in round 1. And he's the guy that goes double-digit sacks opposite Cam Jordan this year. And then you also have Carl Granderson, and then Kpassagnon can also be a rotational guy at defensive end. Awesome. If that's how it plays out, fantastic. That just, you basically mirror the production of a year ago just with guys in different chairs. But if Davenport can't stay healthy or doesn't blow up this year, maybe Kpassagnon can be that guy with this opportunity. Maybe not, but it cost you relatively nothing to get a guy that culturally seems to fit what you want to do and is a piece. By the way, the Saints did work him out pre-draft and had a one-on-one with him pre-draft back in 2017. So when they took Trey Hendrickson, this was another guy that they were scouting at that time as a possibility, a guy who also played in the Senior Bowl. So it's a prospect that they're very familiar with and maybe might be able to make something out of him here. Because quite honestly, as we've talked about, the Saints now have lost 3 defensive linemen with Hendrickson, Brown, and Rankins. So you've got to get starting caliber players in your defensive line rotation, and this is a guy who can be that. Again, the hope is Davenport becomes that, but if he isn't, here's a guy that has been that and maybe can be that as he moves through this deal. So the Saints sign their, I guess, second free agent. Nick Vannett, the tight end from Denver, becomes the first free agent, big name, air quotes, big name free agent they signed. And now Tanoh Kpassagnon becomes the second on the defensive side. It also goes to show financially what New Orleans is up against with this year in the cap. Even though they are within the cap constraints and they're within cap compliance right now, they're still having to move a lot of pieces even to make deals like this work in this year. Next year, it's going to be easy. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but it'll be easier when you see the salary cap increase and become more aligned with where it was trending pre-COVID. And we all expect that that's going to happen. So next year will be much easier for New Orleans. They'll have another conversation to have about what they do at quarterback with Winston only on a 1-year deal this year. So however that looks. But for New Orleans, this is an affordable guy that makes sense at a position of need and doesn't eliminate defensive end as a position that would be a draft need, but it certainly reduces it on the level of importance. Defensive tackle, interior defensive line, and cornerback, in my opinion, still maintain the top 2 priority positions. Obviously, you need a weak side linebacker as well, but I don't know if you're going to get a starting weak side linebacker in the draft. My hope at 28 for New Orleans is, provided they stay in that pick, that you get a starting cornerback at that spot. If it's not a starting cornerback at 28, it's got to be a starting defensive lineman. So Saints add another free agent signee. It's yet to be formally announced by the team, but everybody's reporting it. So whenever they can actually sign on the dotted line, they'll announce it. But Tanoh Kpassagnon, get used to saying that. New defensive end for the New Orleans Saints. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.